Good evening and welcome to Business Today on Channel I. On this program, we talk about business, entrepreneurship and many insightful topics with high-profile individuals. Keep tuning in to today's episode as well while we discuss business today. Today's guest is the General Manager of APIGO International, and to know more about today's personality, let's take a look at the character profile.
Tennakoon brings with him over 10 years of experience in strategic planning, audit, risk and controls, operational management, research and data analytics across multiple industries. He joined APIGO as a general manager in 2021 to oversee e-commerce operations in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Philippines and explore and expand into new territories. The management style Dumindu follows has promoted self-development, productive work ethics, respect and inclusion across the working environment, thus benefiting all team members. He believes that exemplary leadership and promoting an inclusive culture would enable the entire team to improve every day. This leadership has also contributed to the active participation across the board in developing the needed mindset in overcoming challenges and ideation within the business unit. He believes that failure is an important part in life to learn how to overcome challenges and improve qualities such as persistence. He's a firm believer on being flexible to deliver on professional obligations and at the same time managing a healthy work-life balance. His past work includes places John Keel's Holdings and Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation PLC.
Good evening, Dumindu, and welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Prashant.
Right, now before we start off and really dig deep, I would like to start off by asking you, what is APIGO exactly and what do you do as a company?
Right, so first and foremost, APIGO is part of ChannelEye. ChannelEye is essentially a software development firm. So APIGO is essentially a software development firm. So what we do is actually, we founded a little bit just before the pandemic hit Sri Lanka and maybe the whole world. So the idea was we call certain business aggregators. That is, you have your own platform, like let's say eBay, and you sell through eBay and you get orders if you're a merchant, and you need to give a cut to eBay. Okay. And sometimes what happens is it's a significant cut. So we saw how the businesses are changing, how the landscape is changing towards all going E. So we thought, why not we create websites for people, merchants, businesses, so we empower them. So that is the basic, it started off as an idea. So what do we do, or what is APIGO is we started off as an idea to empower businesses to do well and gain control over your own business. So that's the premise of it.
All right. Now APIGO is an e-commerce platform.
Yes.
Now there are many e-commerce platforms in the market. How exactly does APIGO really differentiate from the rest?
Right. Okay. So that's very interesting. That's a question we ask ourselves as well, right? So what is our value proposition? So what happens is, let me break it down again. We have what we call players similar to us. We call them aggregators. That is again like eBay, or maybe not Amazon, but like Daras, all those businesses, which we adore them. What they have done is they have developed this market to a level. Now, if you're a merchant, you think about I need to get onto Daras or Uber Eats or Pick Me Food or whatever, and sell my product, gain orders. And yes, that cost me some commission, sometimes it's a significant commission. So all these aggregators have developed the market and people know about e-commerce unknowingly. So what we did was we went and told them, okay, hello, if you look at your data, majority of your business comes from your repeat client base. So we asked them why don't you reach out to them directly? And they, that worked as kind of this spark in them, and they realized, yes. So globally we have similar platforms like if you take Shopify or Wix.com, essentially does the same thing, maybe at a higher scale. What they don't have and what we have is, we call it like hyper localization. When we are present in a market, we take the form of that market. That means if you have a problem with Shopify, there's no like helpline to call, there's nobody like you can go and meet. So that whole thing changes when you work with APIGO. So again, not trying to promote our own thing, but what happens is, like, we have what we call a team, they're called customer success. So customer success is no different to, like, in a bank you get relationship managers who will, like, move your funds and do everything for you.
Yeah.
So similarly, we have a team, so their sole purpose is how do you make these people successful, the merchants. So adding into that, one of the key differentiators, or at least as far as we are concerned, is that our game is infinite. So we are in the business for the long run. We always been, like, because like I said, we are part of ChannelEye. ChannelEye has been in the business for the past 25 years. ChannelEye business went public, so we are very proud about that as well. So so those are the key differentiators we have. Finally, if you want a website, if you already have a website as a merchant, you will know the difficulties of that. Maybe we can go into detail on that later on as well. But what we give is, like, no coding needed. You can, like, sign in and, like, upload your products, pricing. You can change your own products pricing. So we bring in this sense of convenience to the merchant as well. So those are the key differentiators as far as we are concerned. But, like, again, to say not to put any other player in the market down, because everyone's contributing to grow this, because this is the future, right? So even like mom and pop shops, I mean, I have case studies of very interesting cases that we don't usually see, like, okay, this guy can go online and sell. One such example is, we have a fish market merchant.
Okay.
I mean, we were skeptical, like, providing him the solution, saying that, okay, this is your own thing. But he's like one of the top performing guys, I mean, even to date. So, I mean, we are also surprised by some of our merchants, but that's basically how we operate.
Right. And tell me a bit about your value-added services.
Yeah. So, again, we are very much into analytics. So sometimes that's one area a lot of the merchants will not look at. So we will give them updates about, okay, this is your fastest moving product, which they might already know, right? So if you're a fish merchant, like what kind of fish gets sold out.
Yeah.
But what they wouldn't know is that, like, what time of the day you need to, like, focus more, or what time of the week. Obviously, maybe some of those also they know, but they might not know, like, okay, past data will suggest you need to carry this many stocks for the next week. So we are very focused on that. Even our decision making goes in the same line. So that is one. Another thing is digital marketing kind of support. How you run the algorithm on Facebook or Instagram. Yes, people know how to boost, but people don't know the workings on it. People don't know how to upload, like, we call it like for like kind of comparison. So you upload the kind of profile you want to attract, and then, like, Facebook search for that kind of, like, similar profile.
Right.
So I mean, we have in our game, that's what we have to do. So that we extend as a service as well. So there are so many, like, unlisted, unrelated things we would like do for them, like hosting free of charge. Obviously, cybersecurity is provided, payment gateway is given, like a. So again, we have some merchants who have, like, come to us. They already had an existing website. It's just that they can't access the source code. They can't do any changes. You can't integrate a payment gateway. So like an end user can't, like, log into their website and go and, like, buy a product.
Okay.
So those are the kind of, like, value added services. Again, in a nutshell.
Right. Now, everything starts with a vision. Usually when you start a company, or when you're planning some new step or the next step, it always starts with a vision. And I would like to know how you brought this vision into practical applicability.
Right. Excellent question. So first of all, in terms of in terms of operation, we have like our support systems. So it's I mean, never myself who will make certain decisions. Like, so we have like a board that we discuss and all that. So the vision was straightforward. Vision is, how do we become the #1 e-commerce all-inclusive solution provider in the markets we operate. So in Sri Lanka is our home market. We definitely want to do that, be that. So with that vision, how we brought it forward was like, we are very keen on our value system. One of those values is, we will always pick growth over comfort. So we feel like, okay, now we are getting comfortable in a area, but how do we keep growing in the area? What features we have to add in? Like, sometimes merchants don't ask for it, but what can we like innovate and envision? So that's one of the key things, keep us going, keep us on the game all the time. So never be comfortable, but look for growth. Second thing is, we take priority on long-term sustainability of the business over short-term gains. We have seen people try to like, hike up pricing, give like so many hidden prices, costs to like, merchants. But our game is, like I said, it's an infinite game, right? So like, you don't win it, you like stay in the game.
Right.
So that's what we do with our partners and our merchants as well. So third and finally, we are very focused on accountability. Even in my profile introduction, my team must have given that, saying like, we are very flexible, but we want to try things out. If we are wrong, we need to admit we are wrong and move on fast. So the kind of failure that we like is like, when it fails fast, then you learn from it and you come back again. So those are the three kind of overall things, values that we protect very dearly. Apart from that, we have like many others as well. So in terms of our approach and our philosophy in business, how we link everything to our vision, that is the path, Prashant.
All right. Now, how does APIGO help exporters promote their businesses exactly?
Right. So we have identified there are 3 types of exporters that we want to focus on. One is that you're already doing bulk supplies to like China or like Europe or wherever, but you don't have a website. You have maybe like one supplier. That's your like sole dependency, and that dependency goes away and your business is like basically stalled, right? That's number one. Number two is, you're doing bulk, but you have aspiration to do retail to an international market. Third type of exporter we are looking at is like, you have aspiration to go international. Like, right now you are probably doing like local, and you have an aspiration to go to the international market. So these 3 types of exporters we are focusing on, and we have understood they have slightly different requirements, but all 3 of those have like so many common requirements as well. One is, they will always find it beneficial if we have like shipping partners integrated. That means when you are given a website, you can pick and choose from like a few shipping partners, or like you can pick and choose all of them, and maybe the end consumer can pick whether it's Aramex or whether it's FedEx or whoever that is that we are working with, based on the rates. So again, just to link back to some of the things we discuss about our long-term vision, so we call it like development of the ecosystem. So we don't just bring in a website, we bring in all these value propositions as well, like the shipping partners, payment gateways. Again, more than one payment gateway, like HNB is like a very good partner. We have a very good relationship. We've been working with them for a long time, and like now there are like different players emerging, right? So there are certain payment gateways, they say like buy now, pay in like 3 installments, and that benefit is given to the end consumer. So merchants like this. So likewise, we can see how the ecosystem gets developed. So these are some of the core requirements these exporters would want, and one of the fundamental things they are looking at is like this digital marketing support. How do we promote on Facebook and Instagram? How do we reach new leads? Because like, to be honest, that's the area most of our merchants are not very what's the right word? They're not very, that expertise is not there.
Okay.
There are like a few merchants who are like on top of the game. They know exactly what to do.
Right.
So with them, we don't have to extend any digital marketing support. We have
they
seen
need to
that.
up their social media game, or just technology in general?
Actually, it's not very difficult, Prashant. I'm glad that you asked, because it's not about technology in general for sure, because you will see like tech companies like ours, our focus is how do we give a product that's less techy for anyone to pick it up, and like there's like zero coding needed,
Very
and
user friendly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that will be the trend. I think the thing is, when it comes to like certain promotional methods and all that, it's completely like basics of marketing. Again, I'm not trying to make it like too simple, but there are simple things we can do, and we aid the merchants to do as well. So one is like, how do you promote? How do you pick your geographies? How do you customize to the requirements? So those are the basic kind of ecosystem we provide to these aspiring and existing exporters, Prashant.
Right. Now, something that the country is in dire need of right now is foreign exchange. How exactly can a company like APIGO really help in this endeavor?
Yeah. At the height of this crisis, this is what we call like a business pivot, because we were very focused on providing restaurant solutions, like ordering platform, very easy to do. Then for retail, again, your own website and you run it, you sell the product, you keep the money. We will do the maintenance and all that.
Okay.
And at the height of the crisis, what we discussed was, okay, what do we want to do? And we saw like from our overseas endeavors, that's like we have our business in Philippines and Bangladesh. We saw like dollars coming in, and we were very happy about it. We are contributing to like what Sri Lanka is going through, like in a positive way.
Yeah.
And then like this was actually in one of the boardroom discussions where Dinesh Saparamadu, he's the chairman of ChannelEye. He mentioned like what is the kind of pivot we can do. We all had like in the back of our heads saying that shall we focus on some exports. So the key ones we knew was like spices and things like that. Then from that discussion we went into some research to figure out there are so many export ready merchants we can find, so many export ready industries that we didn't pay attention to. So that's when we thought, okay, now we need to add some support systems, build that ecosystem, and then reach out to the export ready merchants and say, guys, like we will support you to take your product out to the world.
Okay, so now you've mentioned a lot of advantages and a lot of ways that you help companies, but if you wanted to just give a few points, what Sri Lankan companies can benefit by partnering up with APIGO?
Yeah, so one of the key things is that they will get a fantastic product. So we are again, our focus is we want to create products that is functional. So first and foremost, it has to work. Number two, it has to be convenient. So if it's like a cumbersome process to like for an end user to go through, and they'll say like this is not something I want to do. Number three is it should be seamless. That means you click somewhere and like if the report is not getting generated, or like if there are disconnections in the process, even from a back-end point of view for merchants, then it's not going to work. So number one is the merchants will get a fantastic product, the end user will get a fantastic product.
Okay.
Number two is we will give dedicated support. So since we are, Sri Lanka is our home market, and we have like a almost 24/7 call center. Say almost because like obviously these days we have like a few difficulties of logistics. Then we have like relationship managers, we call them customer success. So every single business will get like a dedicated person. So something goes wrong, you have a number to call, and you have a like person we make it a point, we go and visit these merchants, so that like there's a name, there's a face, like something goes wrong or something goes right also, like these. So our customer success people become part of that business for some time at least.
Right. So they
And
know
we've
they have
seen-
someone they can count on.
Absolutely. So even
Okay.
in celebrations, we know, like, these people go and, like, become kind of a part of that business.
Okay.
So we've had some of the difficulties in the past was, like, these guys work for some time and that business would want to keep them, like, for a long time.
Right.
So those are all positive things, but yeah. So those are two key things they will get apart from the technical expertise we give. For example, Prashant, if anyone's building a website, you will almost never get like a version upgrade, because like any company will do the website up, hand over, do the maintenance, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
But here we are operating in 3 different markets, and those 3 different markets is enriching each other, because there are different requirements from Bangladesh market that's equally applicable to Sri Lanka and Philippines, and like it goes vice versa. So because of that, there are so many version upgrades these merchants will get, like even the look and feel. So those are some of the, I would say those are the 3 key differences kind of like the merchants will face with us.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us today. That was Dumindu Tennakoon, the General Manager of APIGO International. Thank you once again for being with us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And that winds up today's episode of Business Today. Do join us next week as well. Till then, have a good night.
It as well, right? So we had like a sense of pride